Good morning everybody and welcome back to the channel where today we are doing the final video of my predictions for LEGO Legend of Zelda official sets. And I'm quite aware that some of you may be fed up with this by now, but I think as always it is important for me to get my predictions for what a LEGO Legend of Zelda license could look like before, well, we actually get one. And you never know, that could be just around the corner. So today we're going to be taking a look at some of the smaller things that I want to see in the LEGO Legend of Zelda partnership. Now these are odd, wacky things that will either have to be custom molds or just some very nice prints that I think will really help to expand the LEGO Zelda universe. So without further ado, let's get straight in. And the first one is definitely a weird one, and that is the fish pie. Now, this is an item from Breath of the Wild. It's one of the meals. It's my favourite of the meals from the game, despite it not really having any huge purpose, but I suppose you can do hearty fish pie. However, more here, I'm interested in the recipe card, which is something I included in my custom set Z0049, the Yiga Clan Attacks, on the board where I Legoized the poster, or that is my plan to, and I think that this is much more likely than something like a moulded fish pie piece, which I really don't expect. However, I think it would be a really nice touch and quite charming is if in some Breath of the Wild sets we saw 2x3 tiles printed or stickered with recipe cards that were actually seen throughout Breath of the Wild. Obviously these range from fish pie to wheat cake and all the things in between, but they're scattered across Hyrule and they tell you what kind of things you could cook, and I think they'd be an absolutely lovely inclusion to just world build out those Zelda sets. Following up from that, how are we going to buy our ingredients for our food if we don't have rupees? I think rupees are something really iconic that we should be seeing in LEGO Legend of Zelda, and the only way that I can think of them doing it is in a small pack similar to the Superheroes Firepower accessories, where you get a collection of rupees just like the gold coins, which you can then spend. Obviously they've got all the different values and it'd be really nice to see some variation, but they're such an iconic part of the Zelda lore that I really think they should be included. Next up we have the masks, obviously here mostly from Majora's Mask. There are so many masks and so many varieties in that game along with Majora's Mask itself that it would be really cool to see just a couple of them in neck bracket attachment form for minifigures to wear. Not only this would be a great way to make sig figs that are inspired by The Legend of Zelda, such as using the Keaton mask, but it would allow for a lot more availability, I guess, in sets where you could have your soldiers bought from one set and then get the stone mask from another set and then make them wear it, and then suddenly you've got Shiro the Invisible Soldier. Not to mention it would be cool to have more customizable options for Link, and on the other hand some of these are super iconic. While I don't see us ever getting something like the Fierce Deity mask, the Fierce Deity as a minifigure would also be pretty cool, although I would absolutely love to be able to put Link and then attach the Goron mask to his face rather than just having Goron Link. Same goes for stuff like the Bremen mask. I'm particularly fond of the stone mask just because of how weird it looks. I'd love to see some of these in an official Zelda line. Next up we have the Kilton masks, and I guess this is sort of follows on from the last one, where I think these are super adorable and would be great pieces of accessory for Link. Not to mention if they do them clever enough with real Moblin, Lizalfos and Bokoblin minifigures, you could just reuse whatever head mold they give them and then just make sure that it can accidentally work for the Link mask as well. Either way, these are super cool and probably super unlikely to ever see in a set, although I think it would be absolutely amazing to get this high level of variation for Link. Obviously, another big one that I really hope we do see, and this one's probably one of the more likely ones on today's list, is the heart pieces, and these appear in most games, and I think they would be absolutely perfect as this 1x1 red tile that you can see held by the Tin Man. Obviously, removing the clock print and adding a heart container piece, the piece is so perfect for a heart container that it's really something that I hope we see. They're such an iconic part of Zelda lore, and they've almost sort of transcended the series, where it'd be really nice just to see these guys as rewards in chest along with other things like brick-built hook shots and all the other things. So cool. Next up is a bit of a weird one as well. We have dual molded chests. LEGO have an amazing chest mold already, however I would love to see them take it a step further considering how much of an important role chests play in these Zelda dungeons. Whether it's as simple as adding some dark red printing to the indents to make the EX chest, which I think would look pretty good, or as simple as making a brand new chest mold. Either this raised lid chest or the flat lid chest would make two great candidates for having a bit of printing or a new mold altogether just to make them fit a bit better. It could be really easy to do, such as taking our brown chest and just adding brown printing, or injecting a gold and blue mold into another chest. We'll see. But either way, I expect chests to have an upgrade for the LEGO Legend of Zelda line. Following on from the dungeons theme, we also have the ability to have locking doors. This is something that wouldn't be too hard to achieve after we already have this dots mechanism that they use in these secret locking books, but I would love to be able to find a small key in a chest and then actually use it to unlock the door as a play feature. Obviously I'm fully aware that using your imagination you could always go around the door, but it's still nice to have as a feature, showing it as a physical roadblock rather than just something that needs opening. It just adds to that play experience, and I think it would be something cool that isn't too far out of the realms of possibility now. And then coming back to the collection aspect, we have pearls, orbs, and medallions. Now these are all iconic collection pieces from the Zelda franchises. They're usually your end of dungeon rewards or extra abilities. Particularly the pearls from Wind Waker would work spectacularly well as that little Technic orb element in transparent colours with some printing. I'd love to see the Sage's medallions as discs either with the minifigures or just in general. And the Champion's abilities and the Spirit orbs are also something that I think would look really, really cool on a display, and they could almost work as if you're like using them. They could come with like their champions respectively. Oh, so cool. These would work easily as tile 1x1 round prints or as the Technic orb like I mentioned, but they're such iconic rewards for dungeons that I really think it would be a shame not to at least get some of them. I think medallions are probably the easiest inclusion. And then moving on to characters, we have Purple Link. Now he is a Link variant which is only really seen in Four Swords Adventure, and I guess there's recoloured skins in Smash and the original Hyrule Warriors, question mark? But Purple Link is a character that I think is pretty unlikely to ever see, but he's a bit that I think we should see. He's a variant of Link's that adds more colours to the sets, and he's relatively underdeveloped as a character, so I guess you could include him wherever. I mean, I think it's much more likely that we will see Green Link, Zora Armor Link, and Fire Tunic Link in like the Ocarina of Time style, so why would we not see Purple Link? It would just be kind of cool as a just exclusive character to get. I don't even care in what form. It could be a gift of purchase for all I care. Either way, I think he'd be a really lovely inclusion and something I want to see in the LEGO Zelda license. And following up from that, we just have variety. As usual, I have to squeeze variety into one of these videos, and this time it comes in the form of Link's outfit. It would be such a shame as if across many sets we just got one Link variant, that being him in his green armor, and while I'm aware that they won't make a lot of new hair pieces for him consistently, I would love it to be in a position where we have just so much variety when it comes to what he's wearing. Obviously the main game where there is variety for Link is of course in Breath of the Wild, where you have sets such as the Frame Breaker, Barbarian, Ancient, and not to mention the infamous Royal set, along with Sheikah styles, Zora styles, and the Classic style and Rito styles. However, the classic games have quite a lot of varieties as well, whether it's the Sheikah Shorts Link, the Silent Realm versions where these colours are all negative, the Magic Armor, Zora Armor, Conductor Link, Minish Link, or the classic Ocarina of Time Link, or even the Triforce Heroes variants, which are terrifying but also kind of cool. I think there is a lot to potentially see here, and it would be such a shame if we just kept getting the same old Link minifigure like we did for Jack and Parker in Hidden Side. I'd much prefer to see something like the Owen Grady's of Jurassic World, where we get at least 2-3 variants each wave, and I don't even mind if they're repeating, but I would love to see some of these wacky costumes that our hero has had represented in Lego form, and that would add a lot more to the collector's side of things, especially rather than getting 75 of your normal Links. You'll get 75 Links in different outfits. Next up we have the NES cartridge. Now I'm not sure how they'd include this in a set, but I would love to see the gold version of the Legend of Zelda NES cartridge to appear in a set, so that if you have the NES system you can plug it in. I don't expect this to come with a moving screen setup for Zelda 2 or something. I just think that it's an iconic piece of gaming history and a cartridge that is incredibly rare, and I would love to see just the stickered elements for, just so that I could personalize my Nintendo Entertainment System set just a little bit for me. You could even include a controller for Port 2 just to add a little bit of extra value, but I think this would be a lovely little £30 edition set, or sell the cartridge on its own as a gift with purchase or VIP reward when LEGO Legend of Zelda launches. Either way, I think this is something that not enough people talk about, and I would love to see just as a fan of the franchise, and I think it would be really awesome. And then finally for today we have the Minish. Now this could either be based off the Nanofigure mold or the Baby mold, but I think that they are a ridiculously underrated portion of the Zelda franchise that would be lovely to see in minifigure or microfigure, shall I say, form. I'd love some of their buildings to be represented, but if it came down to just getting them in a character pack or as an accessory in a minifigure series or something, I would settle for that. I just think they deserve a little bit more representation, and while I think it's pretty unlikely that LEGO will touch the majority of the 2D games, I think that these guys would be a great shout for inclusion. Overall, that is going to finish up today. I've talked about a couple of random things that I want to see, and the majority I've talked about here today, I guess, are a little bit unlikely, but these are sort of like my pre-LEGO Zelda White Whale, stuff that I really hope we do get to see in some form or another, but deep down I sort of know that these are unlikely. Either way, let me know what you guys would love to see in the license, specific tiny things that just might slip through the radar, not your big locations, your big minifigures and stuff like that, just the little things. And let me know how excited you are to see a fish pie recipe book. Yeah, down in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.